when you heard Eminem in middle school? Did you do anything crazy?
I have a very distinct memory.
Did you beat anybody up with a skateboard?
I did not beat anybody up. Middle of the year, 6th grade. Girl literally turned around, Garden State style, and put headphones on my head and had a Discman.
No.
Yes. And played me Marshall Mathers LP, I guess.
And that's your wife now. Welcome to Popcast Deluxe, your My Middle Finger Won't Go Down. How do I wave? Of weekly cultural review. I'm John Caramanica, a critic at the New York Times.
I'm Joe Coscarelli. I'm a reporter at the New York Times. What's going on, John?
I've been doing more than the recommended daily allowance of thinking about Eminem.
Right.
There is, in the year 2024, there is, in fact, the FDA has
there's a daily
certain number
limit
of minutes that you can safely think about Eminem. And in the last few days, I have blown past those limits over and over again.
because you love Houdini.
Still a white jerk, pulling up in a Chrysler to the cipher with the flex perks and a Bud Light shirt. Lyrical technician and electrician, y'all light work. And I don't gotta play pretend, it's you I make believe. And you know I'm here to stay, cause me, if I was to ever take a leave, it would be aspirin to break a fever. If I was to ask for Megan D Stallion, if she would collab with me, would I really have a shot at her feet? I don't know, but I'm glad to be back like abracadabra.
I will say it's not execrable.
The new Eminem single.
It is not execrable. Can we just briefly can we time travel for a second?
Sure.
Because you listen to Houdini, and like Houdini, the genre of Houdini is Eminem song.
Right. Vintage Eminem
Yeah,
single.
it's not hip hop song, rock rap. It's not any, it's Eminem. It's Eminem circa 99 to 02. By design, basically. With a sprinkle of later kind of like rock Eminem.
Yeah.
Like a sprinkle
with
of it.
based around a Steve Miller
Steve-
Band sample
Yes.
and interpolation.
Is it it's not a sample?
I mean, I think it's both.
Okay.
Because he does his own abracadabra. You know.
Don't we all? Okay, so I was thinking a lot about the moment of Eminem's arrival, and particularly that time between the first and second album, when the American mainstream opened up to the Eminem discourse.
Yeah.
In the rear view, that period of time was lunacy. You had places like, and I'm sorry, if I know you and you wrote one of these pieces, please forgive me. If I wrote one of these pieces, please forgive me. You know, like The Nation or like the New Republic would be like, finally, a rap poet. You know, like you're.
Oh, you're saying it was crazy from that side, the people welcoming Eminem, not people being offended.
No, because that's a given. That's a given. That's like, I'm a petulant little child, and people would be like, no, we're gonna slap you with an explicit warning.
This is not where I thought you were going.
No, that's fine. That's to be expected.
Yeah.
That's almost a welcome.
But you're talking about the people who were blown away.
I was just trying to think how Eminem got so popular, and there is some portion.
I don't think it was The Nation.
No, but there's some portion of the popularity that can be attributable to people who steadfastly refused to see the artistry and the poetry of hip hop prior to Eminem. But then when he comes along with his triple entendres and like internal rhyme schemes, which are obviously not invented by Eminem.
And he would be the first one to tell you.
He'd be the first to tell you.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, people were like, this guy's a poet. And it was
that's never happened again with any artist ever since. With any white rapper.
I thought you were talking about Kendrick. Sorry. But I remain shocked. I had forgotten. I had kind of like memory hold that layer of coverage. Because like obviously it was covered in the hip hop press. Obviously people were very, there was a moral panic associated with it. You know, there was like, I mean, I wrote that Fader cover and whatever, like Marshall Mathers era. It's covered widely in hip hop and kind of like cool music press. But there was that layer of implicit disdain for the creative capability of rap music baked into a damn, we love how this guy plays with words. That's 1,000% attributable to his presence as a white rapper at a high level. Obviously, as white rappers before. And I don't know, something about remembering that era made me shiver a little bit over the weekend. And I wish it had not happened. I low-key think Eminem wished that layer of conversation had not happened.
That seems certain.
Yeah. And it's put him in a strange position where almost everything he's done subsequently to the first like 3 albums is like demonstrably worse quality-wise. It's often bigger, especially when he toys with rock music and big samples. It's often very big, like spacious. But for him to kind of come full circle and be like, on my new album, what's the album going to be called?
It's going to be called The Death of Slim Shady.
Mise en scène?
Coup de grace.
We're going to be talking about cinema in the second segment.
Were you joking?
No, I really thought that's what it was.
Mise en place?
That's mise en place. Sorry.
No,
anyway,
mise en scène?
whatever.
No, coup de
We're
grace.
going to be
Coup de
talking
grace,
about cinema.
Death of Slim Shady.
We're going to be talking about
Coming
French,
in July.
French film criticism in the second segment of the show today. Coup de grace.
Yeah.
Coup de grace?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? All he has left is to go back to this kind of like raw poetic period with the same tired double and triple entendres. And again, it's fine. It's fine. It's a classic TRL era video. Everyone's in this video.
Dr. Dre.
Shane Gillis.
the 2 pillars of America.
Truly. Actually, though. So yeah, Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, Shane Gillis,
Paul Rosenberg.
Pete Davidson. Shout out Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Everybody's in this video. What's
So I was in middle school.
every Eminem piece about this album should start with?
So I was in middle school. No, but it's funny because, okay.
Did you do anything when you heard Eminem in middle school? Did you do anything crazy?
I have a very distinct memory.
Beat anybody up with a skateboard?
I did not beat anybody up. No, Eminem was the one getting beat up, I think, which is like much like Kurt Cobain or Fred Durst.
Yes.
I feel like
That's right.
people are confused about who the aggressor and who the victim is with a lot of these sensitive male musicians.
Shout out Kurt Cobain.
Who present as aggressive. No, I have a very similar story to yours. I was not reading The Nation, but I had just moved to a new school in the middle of my sixth grade year.
Imagine what my storage unit looks like. Full of pieces from 2000 about Eminem written by white literary critics who've never previously thought about rap music and never subsequently thought about rap music.
Yes. The girl in front of me, I was in a new school.
Okay.
Didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
Middle of the year, 6th grade. I moved.
A mid-year transfer.
I moved in Y2K. That's when I moved.
Yeah.
I'm like I went to
Your dad reassigned to a new Marines unit.
My father's not in the military. No. Girl literally turned around, Garden State style, and put headphones on my head and
my
had
God.
a Discman.
No.
Yes, this is factual.
What?
And played me Marshall Mathers LP, I guess.
And that's your wife now. Unbelievable. Wait, where is that person now?
No idea. No idea. Call me. let's do the Rashomon of this memory. No, but I remember her being like, this is Eminem, and like showing me the CD.
So Marshall Mathers, not Slim Shady.
I think it must have been the Marshall Mathers LP. No, because it wasn't that. I guess that wasn't out yet.
No,
I guess
Marshall Mathers is 01, I think.
I think it came out in the year 2000, but probably later.
Okay.
That it was either. It could have gone either way.
Okay.
It could have gone either way. I gotta listen to both those albums in full, see if I can be transported back to that time. The reason we're having this stroll down memory lane, this conversation in general, is we're wondering what's an old rapper to do, right? Here's what I'll say about this new Eminem
Who better
song.
suited than an old rap critic?
And who better suited? Eminem is, I believe he's 52 years old, approximately.
Sorry.
50.
Okay, I just looked. Slim Shady is February 99. Marshall Mathers is May 2000.
So school would have already been out.
Yeah.
In May 2000. So it must have been Slim Shady. LP.
Okay.
Okay. Glad we ironed out my memory. Eminem's putting out this song. Here's what I'll say. This song is not really a throwback to those albums. This song is a throwback to like Without Me or whatever, which comes after this early period, right? There's a little bit.
It's early. I would say it's Marshall Mathers into the next album.
Right. A real Slim Shady,
Yes.
whatever. Okay.
Sure.
But it's a little like circusy
Yeah.
in a way that he got once he was already famous, right?
Yes.
But I think what Eminem is doing here is telling, because we've had a lot of conversations this year, even in light of Drake's music, Future's music, J. Cole's music, who's another old rapper. Oh, Andre 3000, who very much made not rap music. And the question is the lingering question is, what are these guys supposed to rap about?
You saw that angry tweet about Andre playing the Atlanta Jazz Festival?
I saw a couple angry tweets.
Yeah. And then there was the press release that came the other day with like 30 European jazz festivals.
For Andre 3000.
Yeah, not for me.
Right.
Good luck, Ghent, is all I have to say.
Eminem's answer seems to be mature, no thank you. I'll just do the same thing,
If anything,
but with new proper nouns.
right, returning
all the way back around.
Yeah, it's not that he ever went fully mature,
But
but
he
he
made
went
the
emotional,
addiction and recovery.
right. He went internal.
Yes,
He was less petulant.
sure.
He made himself his own target.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just like, I'm gonna curse. I'm a bigger prick than Cacti Bee.
Yes. There's a lot of that.
That's not even that's just a lame, that's not even good. That's like just, what is it, a homophone?
He loves homophones.
Yeah.
The man loves I've said this before. The way you know a rapper is aging is when they start to just love homophones. Like,
To be fair, he loved them when he was 20.
Of course, but there's something. I mean, Lil Wayne and Eminem have this in common, which is they're so obsessed with the English language and all of its possibility, and they've made every kind of song you could possibly imagine, had every sort of success you could possibly imagine. The only thing that keeps them going is figuring out new ways to
word
rhyme the
arrangements.
same words. Yeah, or new meanings for a word that they haven't yet placed together or made people think about.
Isn't there a good Lil Wayne quote talking about Eminem was it from 50 Rappers?
Yeah, so this is the thing. I've had the opportunity to interview late period Eminem twice in my tenure at the New York Times.
You certainly have.
And
I certainly have not.
Yeah, which I never thought I would say. Eminem doesn't do a lot of press. I've been to his studio in Detroit, his personal studio, which is just literally Eminem, stacks of like notebooks and video game machines. And nothing else.
Yeah.
Nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, and the thing that comes through every time you talk to him or hear him talk about rap music is how much he loves the art of rapping.
Yep.
And how much he loves words. And yes, both Wayne and Eminem, who I spoke to for our 50 years of hip hop anniversary, they're talking about syllables. They're like obsessed with the math of English. You know what I mean? Like,
how many combined times have we spoken to Eminem?
the two of us?
Yeah.
I've got two. How many you got from before?
At least 3.
Right.
Fader cover,
Okay.
M and 50 vibe cover,
Okay.
and M memoir New York Times piece.
Wow.
So at least those 3.
Sure.
It's a lot of Eminem. That's a lot. We have a lot of Eminem expertise.
Yeah, and he is quite a thoughtful guy.
Loves talking about art.
Loves talking about art and is huge hip hop fan. Obsessed with LL Cool J. Obsessed with Naughty by Nature. Obsessed with. Rakim.
Start a podcast. Eminem started a podcast.
Don't test him. He has a Sirius radio channel. You know, he has the outlet.
Literally start a podcast.
Yeah. But I think it is a little bit telling that this is where he had to end up, which is essentially back at the beginning, but with a Megan Thee Stallion joke. And also, here we are in this era of retread and IP and sequel and alter ego, birth, death, rebirth. It's very successful. It's his most successful song in a decade. It hit number 2 on the Billboard chart this week.
60 million YouTube streams.
It did like 48 or something across streaming services, like that counted towards this chart thing. Held off from the number 1 slot only
by
the
two
behemoth.
people who are absolutely raised on Eminem. That would be Post Malone and Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, I had some help. Yeah. They had some help from Eminem in the past. But I guess, like, is this, if it's the end of Slim Shady, fine, we'll hear this album when it comes out in July. But then what? Like, is it really the end of Eminem? Or can you just keep making new jokes about R. Kelly and Megan Thee Stallion?
I mean, the fact that there's an R. Kelly joke that there's a transgender cat?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the big picture question, can we just talk on a micro level? Does anything... I agree. I think the song is okay as a song.
It's a passable Eminem song.
Good AI. It's a good Suno version of an Eminem song. But do any of these lines hit? Like, genuinely hit?
No.
Like, not one. I don't think...
They're groaners. They're all groaners.
Yeah.
It's like 4 minutes of groaners.
Does it make you think differently about successful Eminem songs of the early 2000s?
No, because I think like that was a child's introduction to groaners. You know what I mean? It was like a middle schooler.
Like the Jerky Boys?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's not dissimilar from that. You know, like on Napster, I would download the Jerky Boys and Eminem. You know what I mean? Like,
and you two can have a podcast with the New York Times.
It's like that was the audience then, and I think it might be the audience now.
Okay, so who is this audience? Because there are a lot of, obviously it's huge, whoever the audience is, it's huge. Who are these people? Are they people who have been riding with Eminem? They're as dedicated to M as Juggalos are dedicated to ICP? Like it's that? Or
both.
Do you think it's new people who are like, I've heard about this guy, and now I get to live it?
I think it's adolescence. And because we see this every generation. Think about Odd Future. Think about Odd Future being obsessed with Eminem.
Adolescents are into Midwest emo and Tinashe.
And Eminem.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's adolescence and people tapping into their adolescence.
Damn.
I have heard from multiple
adolescents,
Eminem heads, like lifelong fans, who are like, "Oh yeah, this is good."
What kind of group chats are you in?
I got a lot of group chats.
You really do. That's dark that you have a group chat for Eminem heads.
It's true.
Wow,
it's true.
What's the Eminem stand? What are besides stands? Like what are?
He invented. I mean,
he did invent it. It's true.
It's like it's basically. I guess arguably it's Nas, but Eminem
really
solidified it.
Canonized it.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
What are Eminem stands called? They're called Stan.
Yes.
They're all titular Stan.
It's just Stan. Yeah. 1 million people, all just one Stan.
Yeah.
Why is this coming out now? What is the utility of it? Because I'm trying to think of it in relationship to whether it's other pop comebacks, other things that are happening with what we're talking about in this segment, which are rappers of a certain age. It doesn't actually feel explicitly connected to any overt movement in either of those spaces.
Definitely not.
It really feels like it's like a cult figure. It's just like, oh, new Mersbo just dropped, killer. Except it's Eminem, and it's like 50 million people who care about it.
It's unreal. He's really is. I mean, even going back to where you started this conversation, where he sort of existed on this island of, oh, people can appreciate hip hop who don't listen to hip hop. Like, Eminem is a genre unto himself. He is a universe of one. He is for Eminem fans. Like there's not, which is why it makes sense. Like, can't really imagine this song on the radio. Like that's actually where I think it faltered on the charts, which is that Morgan Wallen and Post Malone are getting played on the radio.
So you think it's not on? I mean, there's no hip hop station really would play it probably, except maybe in the Midwest.
Yeah, you could
like
imagine it
station?
sometimes, but it's like it would be jarring, right?
You think Flex would play it?
Yeah, no, I do not think Hot 97 is playing the Eminem song a lot. You know, maybe a Z100, like
yeah, maybe.
But just because the people who were programming it like remember,
it's like a sense, like muscle memory. Yeah. You saw the concert with Jelly Roll and Trick Trick. First of all, shout out hi Jelly Roll. Also, Trick Trick, the culmination of the Trick Trick arc, playing at Michigan Central Station in honor of a Ford & Co. Innovation Campus.
Sure, not sponsored.
No. All of those words are in air quotes. Eminem. I mean, first of all, in that concert, lineage of Detroit heavyweights, but with a lot of stuff missing. Eminem, the sort of unannounced guest. This is tough. It was tough watch. Not great.
I think it's really hard for him to hang it up. I think it's like he's a rap Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Like I said, like he can only.
But does he want something different now than he wanted 10 or 15 years ago?
It seems like he wants a little more relevance because we were thinking about the last Eminem album.
Yeah.
Came out January of 2020. Music to be Murdered By. Like maybe like a surprise release even.
Predicted COVID?
I mean, a lot of things were swallowed into that hole 2 months later, but like this album might as well not exist. Right?
Have there been TikToks with like young people listening to Eminem for the first time?
There's
got to be. If there aren't, there have to be.
But I also think like people come out of the womb knowing the words to Lose Yourself. You know?
Okay, but if relevance is really what he's going for, why doesn't he follow the example of another great lyrical rapper with another somewhat vexing new song? And you know the word I'm about to say. Send the kids in the other room because we're about to talk about Grippy.
She like my kick game, and when you mean on kick game, I put her front row to Nick game. Now she in my phone with a nickname. It's Grippy. Grippy. I call her that cause it's grippy. She thinking that if she a hippie, and she thinking the lips she gon' lick me.
This is a new song from J. Cole with. Oh, you love this. You love this move. This is because this is the other option.
This is the other option.
And it's like, what are those kids up to? What's Cash Cobain doing?
This is okay. So the thing that we know about J. Cole, and we've known this for a long time, is J. Cole
loves rapping about sex in uncomfortable ways. I'm talking Wet Dreams. I'm talking Planes with Jeremiah, one of the most infamous verses in modern history. So much so that there are versions of the song that are like Planes without the J. Cole verse.
Why is J. Cole not allowed to be sensual?
Sensual or explicit?
Who's drawing these distinctions?
Are we allowed to say strictly dickly on this podcast?
Too late. When I was clipping out,
I'm just gonna beep that whole thing.
When I was clipping out lyrics to talk about, I stopped at that line.
Well, we're gonna play the beginning of the song, which is a J. Cole verse. He doesn't say a bad word for quite a while.
Are we gonna play it, or do you want me to read a few lines? Can I just read a few lines?
If you want this to live forever on the internet, then yes.
Look, the John Caramanica AI Grippy. It's all right. It's off and running.
Okay.
She sent in a flick when she hit me with a kissy emoji. She missed me.
Cute. When
she see me, she said she gonna strip me.
Okay.
She gonna chew on the stick like it's Wrigley's.
All right. I gotta stop you there.
Does Wrigley still make gum? Is that Is that even a temporally correct reference?
That's how you know J. Cole is getting too old to rap on a Cash Cobain song.
Believe it or not, like Ripley's. Okay, these are all 1970s references.
Right.
These are from before I was born. Okay. Part of the reason I asked about the potential of Eminem TikToks of people being like, this guy's famous, let me check him out, and being like, what? There are endless TikToks of people
Listening to Grippy.
ethering this J. Cole verse.
Yeah.
Now look, Cash Cobain has a very specific universe.
Sexy drill.
There is dare I say, a tight boundary around the type of lyrics that work in Cash Cobain songs.
Okay.
When Ice Spice showed up to the Cash Cobain party earlier it's not summer yet, spring, Ice Spice did,
remix.
Yeah, for sure, remix, did what was expected. Wrote a verse directly into the theme. No problem. J. Cole did the same thing. Are we not going to grant J. Cole the grace to try out a new style? J. Cole pays attention to what's happening with young rappers. I have indelibly seared in my mind the photo of him, the video still of him and Lil Pump on the couch at J. Cole's home studio.
You love this.
It's great. I mean, I was literally in that studio, and then like a month later, I was like, Lil Pump was there, sitting in the same place I was sitting. J. Cole cares about young people. He wants to look out. He wants to be a responsible, older authority figure.
This is him.
And he also wants to be
presenting his authority.
And he also wants to be like, I see how you young guns are partying. Like, he wants to do both. He wants to both be at the party and then chide you for being at the party.
Yes. Can you relate?
I leave those parties now. And so I understand why people find this verse on this song hilarious and uncomfortable.
Yep.
Uproarious, actually.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to it. I feel like I'm experiencing it on a meta narrative. Yeah, I know. Yes, the amount of times on this show that you've been like, "You love J. Cole."
Yeah, you're always defending J. Cole.
I really post Forest Hills Drive.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's good. I think he's good. A lot of the earlier stuff I don't like, but I think he's good. I think he's smart, and I think here's the thing, especially in the wake of him having to bow out of the Kendrick Drake beef,
right?
Choosing to do this is actually
his return.
It's the safest possible return. It doesn't get read in any. It cannot be misread.
No,
you can't be like, oh, you picked a side. You can't be like, oh, you're.
Oh, is that a sub at Kendrick? When he says, never mind. When he says bleep 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 bleep.
So it's actually a safe landing place for him. I think. I also think. Much like someone else that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, sometimes the situation needs a little bit of leavening.
Yes.
And
there's a lot of levity here.
Yes. And I think J. Cole is playing enough chess to know that he might having a fun time making this record and doing this verse. He knows that not everybody's going to read it that way and that the conversation about it will be part negative, but that's okay because it's in a lighthearted way. And that will sort of like wash away the memory of like, bro, did you just go on stage and apologize for making a diss record and then pull it off streaming?
Here's what I will say about J. Cole and what he's been up to.
Say the word.
Grippy?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, that's all. Just wanted you to say it.
I think if he didn't have a track record of, speaking of groaners, super groany sex raps,
yeah,
this could have been received slightly differently.
Because of the quality of it?
No, because it's like kind of a cool move. Like Cash Cobain is like,
that's the guy.
Legitimately,
he's hot right now.
A cool
and
artist.
He's hot and also good.
Right. So I think there's that. I think J. Cole been a punching bag for a really long time, but specifically for not being like hip. That's like a.
Did you see the TikTok of him at the Tesla dealership? Did you see this?
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
where he's not getting recognized.
He's literally not getting. He's like there, like with a backpack and wearing shorts, and like some guy is filming him, being like, they're trying to sell me a Tesla, but they're ignoring J. Cole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, this is all part of the legacy.
But here's where my J. Cole defense comes in, which is I actually think he did an extremely admirable job showing what a rapper, family man who's perhaps aging out of being on Cash Cobain records or not can do.
Can't relate.
On Red Leather with Future,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I guess, the closing track of We Still Don't Trust You.
Pluto got 20 girlfriends, damn, I'm doing it wrong. Cut off all my hoes, now I'm only putting you on a song. Day one, shawty been with me from the playground. Hey now, maybe that's the reason I was playing around. Running like a chicken with his head cut off. Through the streets with a freak slut of red leather on my shoulder blades. In my older age, see the error of my ways, but I'm still not totally over all the temptation.
Does this all seem like a million years
I
ago?
literally. So I'm thinking about when that came out. That album probably came out 7 weeks ago.
7 years ago.
No, that's like I'm not like a name 5 songs guy with band t-shirts, but I am like a name 5 songs guy with like an album that came out 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, probably can't.
To me, this is one of the best J. Cole verses I've ever heard, and it is about being on a song with Future, another guy who's now in his 40s, but has not adjusted his rapping style. And J. Cole sort of doing the push and pull of like, I'm a guy, I have a wife, but I'm also at the club. And like, man, Future has a lot of girlfriends. Like that's literally what he says. But he teases it out. It's like, it's a very Chance the Rapper who
also has a comeback.
Who will be back.
We're not going to talk about it.
We'll see. Maybe it's worth talking about.
I'll be sick that week.
But you know what I mean? It's like it's grappling with his actual place.
Yes.
In music.
And J. Cole is, again, much like Drake and maybe not that much like Kendrick. J. Cole does have a sense of his own meta narrative.
Yeah.
I think Kendrick is like, I am the myth. Whereas J. Cole is like, nah, I'm just a guy, but like I understand that there is lore and I understand that there are places that I seem like I belong and places I don't seem like I belong. And actually I'm nice enough and talented enough that I can move pretty much in all directions. But I understand where the applause is louder and where the laughs are louder. But that doesn't stop me from moving in those places.
So it's funny that J. Cole stole Drake's move for returning from the Kendrick beef because Drake is another rapper who has worked with Cash Cobain. There's Calling for You from For All the Dogs.
Yes.
Which is just a Cash Cobain song. We know that because the reference track leaked in the middle of the Drake beef when people were like, see, he's still using reference tracks. And you're like, yeah, if you ever heard Cash Cobain, you know that that's a Cash Cobain song that he's singing. And Cash Cobain, there he is in the credits. So Drake couldn't hop on Grippy.
No.
Although I'm sure he would have liked to.
I also just like, why is there not like a full Drake Sexy Drill album?
Could still happen.
That's true. But it's like, I feel like, can you imagine summer 2024, 17 songs of Drake Sexy Drill?
Or
yes, or tell us. Yes.
What Drake actually did last week.
Do tell.
So first he rapped over BBL Drizzy.
Big ting for Gwan last week.
He rapped over BBL Drizzy on the Sexy Red album. That was like a move. That was a very Drake thing to do.
I got attraction for you, I swear. Yeah. You think I'm a bachelor girl, but I swear you ain't get your masters, but I still breaking your back in the master bedroom, I swear. You sent a pic in them shorts and I had to sing your caption like I was there. You the hood bitch in my dreams, sexy girl, you just asked for me and I'm near.
Also, I think, it is a very Drake thing to do, but also just like, I think what he was kind of choosing to do is like, I'm just tying this loop up. I'm just like, I'm stitching this up.
Yes.
There's nothing left.
Stitching this up, that's a BBL reference?
Not intentional. Forgive me. Just like, this is done. Whatever this is. Yeah. LOL. Y'all got me.
I'm BBL Drizzy, but not in the way
got
you think.
Me. Yeah. Ha ha ha. You made the meme, but I made the meme song. Like so and so forth.
But if that's the Palette Cleanse meme song, then what is Gwan Delilah, the SoundCloud record by Toronto TikTok comedian?
Yes.
Snow Day with a 4?
Yes.
Gwan Delilah, double date me if you like me. Brought my chronom for your bestie. Sorry, he's wearing a shiesty, he's not beat. It's just too smoky in these streets. You're looking sweet. Oh, don't you be acting mean. No, there's a 40 in my jeans.
So there is an original version of this song that does not feature Drake. Although, obviously, it was not
No
really...
one had heard it except
Well, Drake. Drake heard it. So, obviously, the humor, the joke of Gwan Delilah is using all this heavy Toronto slang. Very
An accent.
Yes. Very popular TikTok motif of just like asking kids in malls like about Toronto neighborhoods or girls or slang or guys and just hearing the specific tonal variances of different parts of the city.
You have money and you left your mom's there? Yo, you're sick to my stomach, fam. But
Anyway,
The girl with the braids.
Girl with the braids.
That's a classic.
There's a
classic.
lot of really good stuff. If you're on Mississauga TikTok, I'm sure there's plenty of good stuff. And then Drake shows up.
Or does he?
I'm inclined to say it's him. There's like a little bit of a like, is it AI? Is it not AI? Is it Snow Day written Drake voice AI? Is it, dare I say, Drake written Drake voice AI?
Right, Drake playing with his own
Yeah,
AI
with-
capabilities. Our friend of the pod, Kristen Robinson,
Yes.
at Billboard has an AI newsletter. Subscribe to that if you're into
that.
AI. She sent it to some AI detector software people. Inconclusive. They said could go either way.
Also, dude from the Plain White Tee said it's definitely AI, which means it's definitely real.
Right, yes. There's
Like-
the reaction video of Plain White Tees, Hey There Delilah, writers and performers listening to the quote unquote Drake version and saying, oh, there's no way that's Drake.
It's not Drake. You're looking sweet.
It's crazy that everybody thinks that it's real.
Can I just issue some instructions for future use to people should this happen to them? If you are a member of a mid-2000s white pop punk band and the most famous person on the planet does something with your song, sample, interpolation, Canadian Jamaican accent, anything, don't look at a camera and be too cool for it. Literally, look at your publishing checks, pay for the college of your great grandkids, and be grateful. Smile through it. Even if
Smiley through it.
Smiley through it. It's a true story. Smiley through it. Even if you're having a hard time internally and you feel that somehow Drake's version is maybe better than yours. The fact that you're on camera being like, oh, I'm too cool. Like, yeah, it's not really Drake. Like, sir, you look like a dork.
No, not the singer of the Plain White Tees.
So anyway, in the future, should this happen to like saves the day or something,
Right.
you know,
God willing.
Yeah, it's like honestly better.
At your funeral,
Can
Drake
you imagine
remix.
at your funeral? That's like the comeback. Oh, free idea. If the boys watching, free idea. But yeah, be hyped.
Yeah.
Be hyped. Don't be whatever that was.
So this song is not on streaming services, which
No.
gives a little credence to the.
It's on. Was it on SoundCloud?
It's on SoundCloud.
briefly?
It's on.
Yes.
It's still on SoundCloud, I think.
There's like a YouTube video that's not real.
Sure.
That has lyrics.
Has
but
like 700K views, but everyone, when this made its way across the internet, first the conversation was, "Is it really Drake?" And then it was, "Haha, Drake, what a loser, he sucks." Right.
That was the initial.
As most things have been for the past.
That was the initial
6
read.
weeks or 6
That was the
months.
initial read because many people, much like J. Cole, many people do not think that Drake has the capacity to be in on the joke.
Right.
Even though being in on the joke is like
The most Drake. thing.
Drakeness.
Yeah.
But if you are inclined to dislike Drake, if you're like, he just got out of a battle and came out on the wrong end of it, if that's how you feel about Drake, the immediate thing when you hear this is he folded, he took the L, he's making a comedy record.
He's spiraling.
Yeah, he's out. And like literally, he's out there wearing massive pants and a sweater tied around his neck at Adonis's soccer game. He's at Houston. He was in a party in Houston wearing like a Puerto Rico jersey. Like he doesn't seem to be spiraling. Tough to say, but like this is not a spiraling move.
But
it's a palate cleanse. It's not a spiral.
My question is like, is it almost so Drake of a move that it doesn't have its effectiveness, even if you like that he can be in on the joke? Like, as somebody who just went through this quite intense back and forth with Kendrick Lamar, like,
that feels like it was 5 years ago.
Also feels like it was 5 years ago. I mean, is him making light of himself, the accent specifically, which is something that Kendrick pointed out in the beef, right? There's a part of Euphoria where he's saying, I don't like your accents. He's making fun of some of this exact Toronto slang that Drake is making fun of. Like, it is in dialogue with what was happening between him and Kendrick.
Of course.
Especially of Kendrick saying, like, you putting on these costumes is fraudulence, basically. And Drake leaning doubly into that. Is this effective in any way? Well, other than it being, like, I think a funnier and better song than people wanted to give it credit for initially. In the bigger picture of Drake's strategy.
Well, you know why it's not on streaming, I think he doesn't want it to be a hit. I think he doesn't want it to be a radio hit.
You think it could be?
I think it could be. I think if it was, I don't know what the publishing situation with Plain White Tees, bro, if you're watching, like, if there's paperwork,
say
you should
yes.
Sign it. But I think Drake doesn't want this to be a hit. I think he wants it to be an inside joke, effectively. Those who are paying close attention can have conversations like this about how it does or doesn't fit in the discourse, or about how it is or is not an answer/update to what he's been going through for the last few weeks. There's a difference between that and it's on the radio. And I think he doesn't want that. So maybe he didn't sign whatever it has to be. You have to sign to have it up on Spotify, which is why it's only on SoundCloud. I think Drake is winking, but taking a step back and saying, like, I'm just letting you know that I know that you think that I'm doing this as lame, but I'm in charge and I'm doing it in a way that's funny to me and is just kind of for the heads. And frankly, for the city. There's something very obviously regional about it. We don't think of Drake anymore as a regional artist. We don't think of him as a Canadian superstar, a Toronto superstar. He's a global superstar. This is a regional song. This is going back to the home team and saying, here's one for y'all. That's how it feels to me. But there's a difference, because if he does sign the paperwork, if it does go to radio, if it does end up in the Billboard Top 10, there's an accountability that comes with that. And I don't think that that's what he's looking for here.
I agree with you. And I just want to add one sort of subsidiary theory, which is that Drake also has another weird feature, two, in fact, coming quite soon. And that's on the Camila Cabello album. And those songs seemingly were locked and loaded after her dalliance with Playboi Carti at the gas station. The main thing driving the release of her album later this month was going to be basically a Drake interlude, which is just a Drake song on the Camila album. She's said in interviews.
That's okay.
And then a song with Drake. And I think that by putting this out in between, it made it so that wasn't the return. Like, that was going to be so off topic from the Kendrick thing, and would have been seen as its own sort of white flag to then just hop on a pop record, especially after making fun of Kendrick for hopping on pop records, that sort of thing.
And you don't think that Drake is big enough that he could tell Camila Cabello to push her album back 3 months?
I think that's may have happened. There was talk that he was going to be on a single that was going to come out mid the Kendrick beef. Perhaps she pivoted, put out a Lil Nas X single instead. This has been, rumored in the industry for these last weeks or months that it's been. So I think he ultimately, for whatever reason, I don't know, contractual or personal, opted not to remove what was presumably a major selling point of this album, 2 Drake features. He didn't rip those from her.
And that's coming in 2 weeks?
It's coming in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
well, we'll see.
This, I think, is a weird little swerve that sort of like gives a little grace both to Drake's appearance on the Camila Cabello album and also the Camila Cabello album itself.
Also, if he's going to do a record with Camila Cabello, just do Sabrina. Just like go whole hog. Just do Sabrina. Like just
espresso remix.
I honestly feel like that could go. Something to think about. Okay, so M, Cole, Drake. These are rappers in their. Everybody's over 40. Drake is.
I don't know how
late
old
30s?
J. Cole is. Yeah, Drake is not quite 40, but he's approaching. Drake's LeBron's age.
So that is Eminem is obviously Cole and Drake are their own generation. M is much older, but you have also seen these things pop up recently where rappers of an older generation are kind of having these crisis moments. I felt that when I saw the Common and Pete Rock rollout included a From the Block performance.
Three wise men came to visit where I've been. They brought gifts with the Southside blend. One had Hennessy, the other a book of street ministry. The third gave a mirror and told me to remember me.
The From the Block performances are increasingly getting under my skin because they're just playing the audio of the song and just with a person standing.
They're part of the rollout.
Yeah, and it's just I would like to see a different kind of performance.
Yeah,
unfortunately, you know, I never thought you'd be like, damn, I missed the golden era of Einer Banks, you know, but like I'd like to see something along that line. And then there was the Method Man and Redman at Hot 97 Summer Jam, and Method Man after Summer Jam saying, "Never again." The generation gap is just too vast. Now, I was not at Summer Jam this year. I have not been for a few years, but I used to cover it every year. I've been to probably 10 Summer Jams over the years. And Summer Jam has always been a site of identity crisis about New York primacy, especially in the 2010s when rap stars were not coming from New York. So how does Hot 97, which is the marquee radio station here, host a kind of like review of contemporary hip hop that actually feels like it belongs in New York? Part of how they do that is by having the Locks come out and do We Gonna Make It.
Every year,
every 20 minutes. Like, which honestly,
awesome.
Fine.
Yeah.
Like I would probably travel 3 hours for a show that was just that. I'd probably travel up to 3 hours for that. But this year's lineup, I noticed, was much younger and a little bit more regionally vast. I mean, like 41 was playing, but also 310 Baby. When I saw 310 Baby on the lineup, I was like, what is happening here? This is bizarre.
Which I think has happened intermittently for the last 10 years.
Yeah, there's always
jams.
some of it, but I think the on average, it was much younger. And the fact that Method Red were performing and a lot of the older New York rappers were performing in the context of a Mr. C tribute. So it's about someone who's passed away. Also, the show's in Long Island now. You got to like travel to Long Island. It's like a whole thing. I think Method Man is ultimately correct.
He doesn't belong there.
It's not for him anymore.
It's been 30 years.
Yeah, literally. A long time. I just saw the Dream Hampton documentary. Like, you're old enough to be anthologized in a documentary of lost footage newly rediscovered. That's how long you've been doing it. Rosenberg from Hot 97 said something recently where he was like, I think Summer Jam should be the OGs.
Should be a hip hop tribute show.
Yes,
basically.
It should be a nostalgia show, or should emphasize nostalgia. I don't fundamentally know that because that's a way that your audience is going to age out. And a lot of your audience probably doesn't listen to Hot 97 anymore. They probably listen to what's the station that's like more hip hop oldies?
Oh, yeah.
94.7 or whatever.
But maybe it should all just be oldies. Like, who's listening to the radio? I don't think 41 fans are listening to the radio.
No.
And they're not hearing 41 even if they are listening.
Well, actually, no, because I have heard 41 on Hot 97 a couple times, and it's very weird every time. Like, you're just like, what? Like, my speaker's broken right now? So anyway, rappers of a certain generation are struggling. But isn't this what we dreamed of?
The classic rock circuit.
Yeah, like, isn't this what we dreamed of 20 or 30 years ago? Like, when we were like, we don't know if the genre is going to last, if it's going to sustain, if it's going to build multi-generations of superstars. Now you're allowed to be around long enough to fall off and make crazy decisions.
You know who'd be really good on Grippy? Method Man.
Should we listen to some vintage Method Man to remind people?
We have to.
I don't want to say remind people because they probably don't know. Method Man, the thespian.
Yes. Also a good rapper.
One of the greats out of the Wu-Tang Clan. Like, maybe the third best rapper in the Wu-Tang Clan?
Yeah.
Fourth on some days? Second on some days? Fourth on some days?
Sure.
But let's say third, a solid third. First album on Def Jam, 94, to Cal. Let's listen to Release Yo Delph.
Remedies, cousin, I be doing on my enemy. Penalty, then I drink 40 to their memories. Emotion, crossing through your town street vicinity. Blood smoke in the air reveals my identity.